This is how to play the two-player card game Aqua, designed and illustrated by Tate Wu and published by Sunrise Tornado. The game features 18 stunning and unique acrylic paintings. With that being said, please bear in mind that this copy is a prototype, and the box art differs from the final product. In Aqua, you are a curator seeking to create the best setup for the new water-themed exhibit at your art museum. One of you believes very strongly in the power of vertical alignment, while the other argues that the focus should be on horizontal structure. You will each take turns placing the paintings in the exhibit, and once you've finished, you'll earn presentation points for the horizontal or vertical groupings of the artwork. The curator with the most points wins. Players will take turns placing cards in the museum, attempting to score points by aligning cards with matching icons. One player will focus on scoring rows, while the other will focus on scoring columns. To begin, players must decide which will score points based on card placement in columns, and which player will score points based on card placement in rows. Whatever is decided, it is recommended that the players sit so that their view of the play area orients to their scoring method. Give each player a player aid card. Set the visitor tokens to the side within reach of both players. Shuffle the deck of painting cards and place them in a deck face down. Place the first card from the deck face up in the middle of the table. If the painting card number is odd, place another card face down below it. In this case, the row player will start the game. If the number is even, place another card face down to the right of the starting card, and in this case the column player will start the game. Finally, deal 3 cards to each player. Players alternate taking turns until the game ends. On a player's turn, they must take 2 actions in this order. Place a card, then draw a card. Players should always end their turn with 3 cards in hand unless the draw deck is depleted. If this happens, they continue to play cards without drawing new ones until the end of the game. To place a card, a player must place one of the cards from their hand into the display in the center of the table. The card must be placed orthogonally next to an already placed card. If the card is placed next to a face-up card, it must be played face down. And if it's played next to a face-down card, it must be played face-up. In the event that a face-down card is surrounded on all 4 sides by face-up cards, that card is flipped face-up for the rest of the game. If multiple cards are surrounded at the same time, they're flipped face-up simultaneously. If a boat card is placed face-up, the active player places 2 visitor tokens on the card. That player may then move one of the tokens to another card up to 3 orthogonal painting spaces away. Then the non-active player may do the same with the other visitor token. These tokens increase the value of cards during scoring. This only happens if a boat card is played face up. The action does not happen when it is played face down or is flipped face up by being surrounded. The game ends when the draw deck is depleted and both players have played every card from their hand. After the last card has been placed, all face down cards are turned face up and the scoring phase begins. Final scoring is based on 2 criteria: set collection and lily pads. However, in order for a row or column to be eligible for scoring, the total combined card values of that row or column must be between 10 and 20. First, players evaluate the play area, either rows or columns. They check each row or column individually to score matching icons and numbers. Each matching icon in a given row or column adds to their points. The icons and numbers do not need to be adjacent. Consult the scoring sheet with the number of matches for each row or column. Sea turtles score as a set in conjunction with wave icons. For the column player, sea turtles score 2 points if a wave icon is either directly above or below it, or 5 points if it's both above and below. The same scoring applies to the row player, except that the waves must be to the right or left of it, instead of above or below. When scoring for a set collection or turtles, any scoring card that has a visitor token is worth an additional point each time that it's scored. Thus, a token could count as part of a set for the card's number and for its symbol. A visitor token on the sea turtle gives the scoring sea turtle 1 additional point, but a visitor token on the adjacent wave does not. Players earn additional points based on the number of adjacent columns or rows with at least 1 lily pad. All columns and rows are considered for lily pad scoring, not just those that were scored for set collection. It is possible to score multiple groups of columns and rows. Once the scores are tallied, whoever has the most points is the winner.